Hi all, Nadine here. So today we are going to be doing Act 4 of Peer Gynt, or Gynt, I don't know. Either way, we're just going to wait a moment, let everybody get in, and then we'll start the show. And we'll see how everything's going here. But for the moment, I'm just going to copy and send that out. And oops. Hi, Hans. I was just kind of waiting for you. Did you get all caught up? Oh, I should let Chaosism know too. He's going to join us later. So, as usual, I'm going to be working on this stupid thing because it takes so long to do. But I'm almost done the bride's hair. So, oh, I hope so too. Thank you. I tried to tweet it out and catch the usual people. I don't know what Drafting's tweeter is. I'll have to ask. Give him the option to follow me. Okay, well, you're here. This book's for you anyway. So I know Cap is kind of busy. He just started moving into school today. So so yay, that'll be good for him, and I really hope everything goes well for him. So yeah, I'm just gonna start her up and we'll see how that goes. Okay, chapter 4 of Peer Gynt. I'm gonna mute this.
Act 4, Part 1 of Peer Gynt by Henrik IBSEN. Translated by William and Charles Archer. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Characters, Act 4, Part 1.
Middle-aged Per Gynt.
Read by Max Schörlinge.
Trompeterstrala.
Read by Bev Stevens.
Mr. Cotton.
Read by Bob Gonzalez.
Monsieur Ballon.
Read by Nathaniel W.C. Higgins.
Von Eberkopf.
Read by Carlson.
First slave.
Read by Phil Benson.
Second slave.
Read by Cliff Thompson.
An officer.
Read by David Lawrence.
The thief.
Read by Nathaniel W.C. Higgins.
The receiver.
Read by Nathaniel W.C. Higgins.
Anitra.
Performed by Liberty Stump.
Chorus of girls.
Performed by Liberty Stump.
By Jeannie D.
And
by Nadine Boulet.
narrator.
Read by Cynthia Moyer. Act 4, Scene 1. On the southwest coast of Morocco, a palm grove. Under an awning, on ground covered with matting, a table spread for dinner. Further back in the grove, hammocks are slung. In the offing lies a steam yacht, flying the Norwegian and American colors. A jolly boat drawn up on the beach. It is towards sunset. Peer Gynt, a handsome middle-aged gentleman in an elegant travelling dress, with a gold-rimmed double eyeglass hanging at his waistcoat, is doing the honours at the head of the table. Mr. Cotton, Monsieur Ballon, Herr von Eberkopf, and Herr Trumpeter Strahle are seated at the table finishing dinner.
Drink, gentlemen. If man is made for pleasure, let him take his fill then. You know it is written, lost is lost, and gone is gone. What may I hand you?
As host, your princely, brother Gynt.
I share the honor with my cash, with cook and steward.
Very well. Let's pledge a toast to all the four.
Monsieur, you have a gout. A tone that nowadays is seldom met with among men living en garçon. A certain... what's the word?
A dash, a tinge of free soul contemplation and cosmopolitanization. An outlook through the cloudy rifts, by narrow prejudice unhemmed, a stamp of high illumination, an Urnatur with lore of life to crown the trilogy united. Nicht wahr, monsieur? 'Twas that you meant?
Yes, very possibly. Not quite so loftily it sounds in French.
Ay was, that language is so stiff. But the phenomenon's final cause, if we would seek?
It's found already. The reason is that I'm unmarried. Yes, gentlemen, completely clear the matter is. What should a man be? Himself is my concise reply. He should regard himself and his. But can he, as a sumptuous mule, for others' woe and others' weal?
But this same in and for yourselfness, I'll answer for't, has cost you strife.
Yes, indeed, in former days. But always I came off with honor. Yet one time I ran very near to being trapped against my will. I was a brisk and handsome lad, and she to whom my heart was given, she was of royal family.
Of royal?
Pair, carelessly.
One of those old stocks. You know the kind.
Trumpeter Strahle, thumping the table.
Those noble trolls.
Pair, shrugging his shoulders.
Old fossil highnesses who make it their pride to keep plebeian blots excluded from their lines escutcheon.
Then nothing came of the affair?
The family opposed the marriage.
Far from it.
Pair, with forbearance.
You understand that certain circumstances made for their marrying us without delay, but, truth to tell, the whole affair was, first to last, distasteful to me. I'm finical in certain ways, and like to stand on my own feet. And when my father-in-law came out with delicately veiled demands that I should change my name and station and undergo ennoblement, with much else that was most distasteful, not to say quite unacceptable, why, then I gracefully withdrew, point-blank declined his ultimatum, and so renounced my youthful bride.
Drums on the table with a devout air.
Yes, there is a ruling fate. On that we mortals may rely, and 'tis a comfortable knowledge.
And so the matter ended, eh?
Oh, no, far otherwise I found it. For busybodies mixed themselves with furious outcries in the business. The juniors of the clan were worst. With 7 of them I fought a duel. That time I never shall forget, though I came through it all in safety. It cost me blood, but that same blood attests the value of my person, and points encouragingly towards the wise control of fate aforesaid.
Your outlook on the course of life exalts you to the rank of thinker, whilst the mere commonplace empiric sees separately the scattered scenes, and to the last goes groping on. You, in one glance, can focus all things. One norm to all things you apply. You point each random rule of life till one and all diverge like rays from one full-orbed philosophy. And you have never been to college?
I am, as I've already said, exclusively a self-taught man. Methodically, not, I've learned, but I have thought and speculated, and done much desultory reading. I started somewhat late in life, and then, it's rather hard to plow ahead through page on page and take in all of everything. I've done my history piecemeal. I never have had time for more. And as one needs in days of trial some certainty to place one's trust in, I took religion intermittently. That way it goes more smoothly down. One should not read to swallow all, but rather see what one has use for.
Aye, that is practical.
Pear lights a cigar.
Dear friends, just think of my career in general. In what case came I to the West? A poor young fellow, empty-handed. I had to battle sore for bread. Trust me, I often found it hard. But life, my friends, life is dear, and, as the phrase goes, death is bitter. Well, luck, you see, was kind to me. Old fate, too, was accommodating. I prospered, and, by versatility, I prospered better still and better. In 10 years' time I bore the name of Croesus amongst the Charleston shippers. My fame flew wide from port to port, and fortune sailed on board my vessels.
What did you trade in?
I did most in Negro slaves for Carolina, and idol images for China.
Fi donc!
The devil, Uncle Gynt.
You think, no doubt, the business hovered on the outer verge of the allowable. Myself, I felt the same thing keenly. It struck me even as odious. But, trust me, when you once begun, it's hard to break away again. At any rate, it's no light thing in such a vast trade enterprise that keeps whole thousands in employ to break off wholly, once for all. That once for all I can't abide, but own upon the other side that I have always felt respect for what are known as consequences, and that to overstep the bounds has ever somewhat daunted me. Besides, I had begun to age, was getting on towards the 50s. My hair was slowly growing grizzled, and, though my health was excellent, yet painfully the thought beset me, who knows how soon the hour may strike, the jury verdict be delivered that parts the sheep and goats asunder? What could I do? To stop the trade with China was impossible. A plan I hit on opened straightway a new trade with the self-same land. I shipped off idols every spring. Each autumn sent forth missionaries, supplying them with all they needed as stockings, Bibles, rum and rice.
Yes, at a profit?
Why, of course, it prospered. Dauntlessly they toiled. For every idol that was sold, they got the coolie well baptized, so that the effect was neutralized. The mission field lay never fallow, for still the idol propaganda the missionaries held in check.
Well, but the African commodities?
There too my ethics won the day. I saw the traffic was a wrong one for people of a certain age. One may drop off before one dreams of it. And then there were the 1,000 pitfalls laid by the philanthropic camp, besides, of course, the hostile cruisers and all the wind and weather risks. All this together won the day. I thought, now, Peter, reef your sails. See to it you amend your faults. So, in the south I bought some land, and kept the last meat importation, which chanced to be a superfine one. They grew so fat and sleek, that 'twas a joy to me, and them too. Yes, without boasting, I may say I acted as a father to them, and found my profit in so doing. I built them schools, too, so that virtue might uniformly be maintained at a certain general niveau, and kept strict watch that never its thermometer should sink below it. Now, furthermore, from all this business, I've beat a definite retreat. I've sold the whole plantation, and its tail of livestock, hide and hair. At parting, too, I served around, to big and little, gratis grog, so men and women all got drunk, and widows got their snuff as well. So that is why I trust, provided the saying is not idle breath, whoso does not do ill, does good. My former errors are forgotten, and I, much more than most, can hold my misdeeds balanced by my virtues.
Von Eberkopf, clinking glasses with him.
How strengthening it is to hear a principle thus acted out, freed from the night of theory, unshaken by the outward ferment.
Pair, who has been drinking freely during the preceding passages.
We Northland men know how to carry our battle through. The key to the art of life's affairs is simply this: to keep one's ear close shut against the ingress of one dangerous viper.
What sort of viper, pray, dear friend?
A little one that slyly wiles you to tempt the irretrievable.
Drinking again.
The essence of the art of daring, the art of bravery in act, is this: to stand with choice-free foot amid the treacherous snares of life, to know for sure that other days remain beyond the day of battle, to know that ever in the rear a bridge for your retreat stands open. This theory has borne me on, has given my whole career its color, and this same theory I inherit, a race gift, from my childhood's home.
You are Norwegian.
Yes, by birth, but cosmopolitan in spirit. For fortune such as I've enjoyed, I have to thank America. My amply furnished library I owe to Germany's later schools. From France, again, I get my waistcoats, my manners, and my spice of wit. From England, an industrious hand and keen sense for my own advantage. The Jew has taught me how to wait. Some taste for dolce far niente I have received from Italy, and one time, in a perilous pass, to eke the measure of my days, I had recourse to Swedish steel.
Trumpeter Strala, lifting up his glass.
Aye, Swedish steel.
The weapon's wielder demands our homage first of all.
They clink glasses and drink with him. The wine begins to go to his head.
All this is very good indeed. But, sir, I'm curious to know what with your gold you think of doing.
Pair, smiling.
Doing, eh?
All four coming closer.
Yes, let us hear.
Well, first of all, I want to travel. You see, that's why I shipped you for, to keep me company at Gibraltar. I needed such a dancing choir of friends around my gold calf altar.
Most witty.
Well, but no one hoists his sails for nothing but the sailing. Beyond all doubt you have a goal, and that is?
To be emperor.
What?
Pair, nodding.
Emperor.
Where?
Of all the world.
But how, friend?
By the might of gold. That plan is not at all a new one. It's been the soul of my career. Even as a boy I swept in dreams far over the ocean on a cloud. I soared with train and golden scabbard, and flopped down on all fours again. But still my goal, my friends, stood fast. There is a text, or else a saying somewhere, I don't remember where, that if you gained the whole wide world, but lost yourself, your gain were but a garland on a cloven skull. That is a text, or something like it, and that remark is sober truth.
But what then is the Gyntish self?
The world behind my forehead's arch, in force of which I'm no one else than I, no more than God's the devil.
I understand now where you're aiming.
Think sublime.
Exalted poet.
Pair, more and more elevated.
The Gyntish self. It is the host of wishes, appetites, desires. The Gyntish self, it is the sea of fancies, exigencies, claims, all that, in short, makes my breast heave, and whereby I, as I, exist. But as our Lord requires a clay to constitute him God over the world, so I, too, stand in need of gold, if I, as emperor, would figure.
You have gold enough, though.
Not enough. Maybe for a 9 days flourish as emperor, a la Lip Detmold, but I must be myself en bloc, must be the Gynt of all the planet, Sir Gynt, throughout, from top to toe.
Monsieur Ballon, enraptured.
Possess the earth's most exquisite beauty.
All century-old Johannisberger.
And all the blades of Charles XII.
But first a profitable opening for business.
That's already found. Our anchoring here supplied me with it. Tonight we set off northward, ho! The papers I received on board have brought me tidings of importance.
Rises with uplifted glass.
It seems that fortune ceaselessly aids him who has the pluck to seize it.
Well, tell us.
Greece is in revolt.
All four springing up.
What?
Greece?
The Greeks have risen in Hellas.
Hurrah!
And Turkey's in a fix.
Empties his glass.
To Hellas, glory's gate stands open. I'll help them with the sword of France.
And I with war hoops, from a distance.
And I as well, by taking contracts.
Lead on. I'll find again in Bender the world-renowned spur-strap buckles.
Monsieur Ballon falling on Peer Gynt's neck.
Forgive me, friend, that I at first misjudged you quite.
Von Eberkopf pressing his hands.
I, stupid hound, took you for next door to a scoundrel.
Too strong, that. Only for a fool.
Trompeterstralle trying to kiss him.
Aye, uncle, for a specimen of Yankee riffraff's meanest spawn. Forgive me.
We've been in the dark.
What stuff is this?
We now see gathered in glory all the Gyntish host of wishes, appetites, and desires.
Monsieur Ballon admiringly.
So, this is being Monsieur Gynt.
Von Eberkopf in the same tone.
This I call being Gynt with honor.
But tell me...
Don't you understand?
May I be hanged if I begin to?
What? Are you not upon your way to join the Greeks with ship and money?
Peer contemptuously.
No, many thanks. I side with strength and lend my money to the Turks.
Impossible.
Witty, but a jest.
Peer, after a short silence, leaning on a chair and assuming a dignified mien.
Witty. Come, gentlemen, I think it best we part before the last remains of friendship melt away like smoke. Who nothing owns will lightly risk it, when in the world one scarce commands the strip of earth one's shadow covers, once born to serve as food for powder. But when a man stands safely landed, as I do, then his stake is greater. Go you to Hellas. I will put you ashore, and arm you, gratis too. The more you eke the flames of strife, the better will it serve my purpose. Strike home for freedom and for right. Fight, storm, make hell hot for the Turks, and gloriously end your days upon the Janissaries' lances. But excuse me,
Slaps his pocket.
I have cash, and am myself Sir Peter Gynt.
Puts up his sunshade and goes into the grove, where the hammocks are partly visible.
The swinish cur.
Not taste for glory.
Oh, glory's neither here nor there. But think of the enormous profits we'd reap if Greece should free herself.
I saw myself a conqueror, by lovely Grecian maids encircled.
Grasped in my Swedish hands I saw the great heroic spur-strap buckles.
I, my gigantic fatherland's culture, saw spread o'er earth and sea.
The worst's the loss in solid cash. God damn! I scarce can keep from weeping. I saw me owner of Olympus. If to its fame the mountain answers, there must be veins of copper in it that could be opened up again. And furthermore, that stream Castalia, which people talk so much about, with fall on fall, at lowest reckoning must mean 1,000 horsepower good.
Still I will go. My Swedish sword is worth far more than Yankee gold.
Perhaps, but jammed into the ranks, amid the press, we'd all be drowned. And then where would the profit be?
Accursed. So near to fortune's summit, and now stopped short beside its grave.
Mr. Cotton shakes his fist towards the yacht.
That long black chest holds coffered up the nabob's golden nigger sweat.
A royal notion. Quick, away! It's all up with this empire now. Hurrah!
What would you?
Seize the power. The crew can easily be bought. On board, then. I annex the yacht.
You... what?
I grab the whole concern.
Goes down to the jolly boat.
Why, then self-interest commands me to grab my share.
Goes after him.
What scoundrelism!
A scurvy business, but enfin.
Follows the others.
I'll have to follow, I suppose, but I protest to all the world.
Follows. End of Scene 1. Act 4, Scene 2. Another part of the coast. Moonlight with drifting clouds. The yacht is seen far out under full steam. Peer Gynt comes running along the beach, now pinching his arms, now gazing out to sea.
Nightmare. Delusion. I'll soon be awake. He's standing to sea and at furious speed. Mere delusion. I'm sleeping. I'm dizzy and drunk.
Clenches his hands.
It's not possible. I should be going to die.
Tearing his hair.
A dream. I'm determined it shall be a dream. Oh, horror. It's only too real. Worse luck, my brute beasts of friends. Do but hear me, O Lord, since thou art so wise and so righteous. O Judge.
With upstretched arms.
It is I, Peter Gynt. O Lord, give but heed. Hold thy hand o'er me, Father, or else I must perish. Make them back the machine. Make them lower the gig. Stop the robbers. Make something go wrong with the rigging. Hear me. Let other folks' business lie over. The world can take care of itself for the time. I'm blessed if he hears me. He's deaf as his wont is. Here's a nice thing, a god that is bankrupt of help.
Beckons upwards.
Hist! I've abandoned the nigger plantation, and missionaries I've exported to Asia. Surely one good turn should be worth another. Oh, help me on board.
A jet of fire shoots into the air from the yacht, followed by thick clouds of smoke. A hollow report is heard. Peer Gynt utters a shriek and sinks down on the sands. Gradually the smoke clears away. The ship has disappeared. Peer, softly, with a pale face.
That's the sword of wrath. In a crack to the bottom, every soul, man and mouse. Oh, forever blessed be the lucky chance.
With emotion.
A chance? No, it was more than a chance. I was to be rescued, and they to perish. Oh, thanks and praise for that thou hast kept me, hast cared for me, spite of all my sins.
Draws a deep breath.
What a marvelous feeling of safety and peace it gives one to know oneself specially shielded. But the desert, what about food and drink? Oh, something I'm sure to find. He'll see to that. There's no cause for alarm.
Loud and insinuatingly.
He would never allow a poor little sparrow like me to perish. Be but lowly of spirit, and give him time. Leave it all in the Lord's hands, and don't be cast down.
With a start of terror.
Can that be a lion that growled in the reeds?
His teeth chattering.
No, it wasn't a lion.
Mustering up courage.
A lion, forsooth. Those beasts, they'll take care to keep out of the way. They know it's no joke to fall foul of their betters. They have instinct to guide them. They feel, what's a fact, that it's dangerous playing with elephants. But all the same, I must find a tree. There's a grove of acacias and palms over there. If I once can climb up, I'll be sheltered and safe. Most of all, if I knew but a psalm or two.
Clambers up.
Morning and evening are not alike. That text has been oft enough weighed and pondered.
Seats himself comfortably.
How blissful to feel so uplifted in spirit. To think nobly is more than to know oneself rich. Only trust in him. He knows well what share of the chalice of need I can bear to drain. He takes fatherly thought for my personal weal.
Casts a glance over the sea, and whispers with a sigh.
But economical? No, that he isn't.
End of Scene 2. Act 4, Scene 3. Night. An encampment of Moroccan troops on the edge of the desert. Watchfires, with soldiers resting by them. A slave enters, tearing his hair.
Gone is the Emperor's milk-white charger.
Another slave enters, rending his garments.
The Emperor's sacred robes are stolen.
An officer enters.
100 stripes upon the foot soles for all who fail to catch the robber.
The troopers mount their horses and gallop away in every direction. End of Scene 3. Act 4, Scene 4. Daybreak. The grove of acacias and palms. Peer Gynt, in his tree with a broken branch in his hand, trying to beat off a swarm of monkeys.
Ah, confound it. Most disagreeable night.
Laying about him.
Are you there again? This is most accursed. Now they're throwing fruit. No, it's something else. A loathsome beast is your Barbary ape. The scripture says, thou shalt watch and fight. But I'm blessed if I can. I'm heavy and tired.
Is again attacked. Impatiently.
I must put a stopper upon this nuisance. I must see and get hold of one of these scamps, get him hung and skinned, and then dress myself up, as best I may, in his shaggy hide, that the others may take me for one of themselves. What are we mortals? Motes, no more, and it's wisest to follow the fashion a bit. Again a rabble. They throng and swarm. Off with you! Shoo! They go on as though crazy. If only I had a false tail to put on now. Only something to make me a bit like a beast. What now? There's a pattering over my head.
Looks up.
It's the grandfather ape, with his fists full of filth.
Huddles together apprehensively and keeps still for a while. The ape makes a motion. Peer Gynt begins coaxing and wheedling him as he might a dog.
Hey, are you there, my good old Buzz? He's a good beast, he is. He will listen to reason. He wouldn't throw... Oh, no, I should think not, indeed. It's me. Pip, pip, we're first-rate friends. Hi, hi. Don't you hear I can talk your language? Buzz and I, we're kinsfolk, you see. Buzz shall have sugar tomorrow. Ah, the beast. The whole cargo on top of me. Ugh, how disgusting. Or perhaps it was food. 'Twas in taste. Indefinable. And tastes for the most part a matter of habit. What thinker is it who somewhere says, you must spit and trust to the force of habit? Ah, now here comes the small fry.
Hits and slashes around him.
It's really too bad that man, who by right is the lord of creation, should find himself forced to... murder, murder! The old one was bad, but the youngsters are worse.
End of Scene 4. Act 4, Scene 5. Early morning. A stony region with a view out over the desert. On one side a cleft in the hill, and a cave. A thief and a receiver hidden in the cleft with the emperor's horse and robes. The horse, richly caparisoned, is tied to a stone. Horsemen are seen afar off.
The tongues of the lances are flickering and flashing, see.
Already my head seems to roll on the sand plain, whoa.
My father he thieved, so his son must be thieving.
My father received, his son keeps receiving.
Thy lot shalt thou bear still, thyself shalt thou be still.
The receiver, listening.
Steps in the brushwood. Flee, but where?
The cavern is deep, and the prophet great.
They make off, leaving the booty behind them. The horsemen gradually disappear in the distance. Peer Gynt enters, cutting a reed whistle.
What a delectable morning tide! The dung beetle's rolling his ball in the dust. The snail creeps out of his dwelling house. The morning, it has gold in his mouth. It's a wonderful power, when you think of it, that nature has given to the light of day. One feels so secure, and so much more courageous. One would gladly, at need, take a bull by the horns. What a stillness all round. Ah, the joys of nature. Strange enough, I should never have prized them before. Why go and imprison oneself in a city, for no end but just to be bored by the mob? Just look how the lizards are whisking about, snapping, and thinking of nothing at all. What innocence even in the life of the beasts! Each fulfills the Creator's behest unimpeachably, preserving its own special stamp undefaced. Is itself, both in sport and in strife, itself, as it was at his primal, be.
Puts on his eyeglasses.
A toad, in the middle of a sandstone block. Petrifaction all round him, his head alone, peering. There he's sitting and gazing as though through a window at the world, and is to himself enough.
Reflectively.
Enough to himself. Where is it that's written? I've read it in youth in some so-called classic. In the family prayer book? Or Solomon's Proverbs? Alas, I notice that year by year my memory for dates and for places is fading.
Seats himself in the shade.
Here's a cool spot to rest and to stretch out one's feet. Why, look, here are ferns growing edible roots.
Eats a little.
'Twould be fitter food for an animal, but the text says, "Bridle the natural man." Furthermore, it is written, "The proud shall be humbled, and whoso abaseth himself, exalted."
Uneasily.
Exalted? Yes, that's what will happen with me. No other result can so much as be thought of. Fate will assist me away from this place, and arrange matters so that I get a fresh start. This is only a trial. Deliverance will follow, if only the Lord lets me keep my health.
Dismisses his misgivings, lights a cigar, stretches himself, and gazes out over the desert.
What an enormous, limitless waste! Far in the distance an ostrich is striding. What can one fancy was really God's meaning in all of this voidness and deadness? This desert, bereft of all sources of life, this burnt-up cinder that profits no one, this patch of the world that forever lies fallow, this corpse that never, since earth's creation, has brought its maker so much as thanks. Why was it created? How spendthrift is nature! Is that sea in the east there? That dazzling expanse all gleaming? It can't be. This must have been mirage. The sea's to the west. It lies piled up behind me, dammed out from the desert by a sloping ridge.
A thought flashes through his mind.
Dammed out? Then I could... The ridge is narrow. Dammed out? It wants but a gap, a canal. Like a flood of life would the waters rush in through the channel and fill the desert. Soon would the whole of yon red-hot grave spread forth a breezy and rippling sea. The oasis would rise in the midst like islands. Atlas would tower in green cliffs on the north. Sailing ships would, like stray birds on the wing, skim to the south on the caravan's track. Life-giving breezes would scatter the choking vapors, and dew would distill from the clouds. People would build themselves town on town, and grass would grow green round the swaying palm trees. The Southland, behind the Sahara's wall, would make a new seaboard for civilization. Steam would set Timbuktu's factories spinning. Bornu would be colonized apace. The naturalist would pass safely through Habes in his railway car to the upper Nile. In the midst of my sea, on a fat oasis, I will replant the Norwegian race. The Daleman's blood is next door to royal. Arabic crossing will do the rest. Skirting a bay on a shelving strand, I'll build the chief city, Peropolis. The world is decrepit. Now comes the turn of Gynt, my virgin land.
Springs up.
Had I but capital, soon 'twould be done. A gold key to open the gate of the sea. A crusade against death. The close-fisted old churl shall open the sack he lies brooding upon. Men rave about freedom in every land, like the ass in the ark. I will send out a cry over the world, and will baptize to liberty the beautiful, thrall-bounden coasts that shall be. I must on, to find capital, eastward or west. My kingdom, well, half of it, say, for a horse.
The horse in the cleft neighs.
A horse! Aye, and robes, jewels too, and a sword.
Goes closer.
It can't be. It is though. But how? I have read, I don't quite know where, that the will can move mountains. But how about moving a horse as well? Puh! Here stands the horse, that's a matter of fact. For the rest, why, IBSEN, ADPOSSE, etc.
Puts on the dress and looks down at it.
Sir Peter. A Turk, too, from top to toe. Well, one never knows what may happen to one. Gee up now, Grane, my trusty steed.
Mounts the horse.
Gold slipper stirrups beneath my feet. You may know the great by their riding gear.
Gallops off into the desert. End of Scene 5. Act 4, Scene 6. The tent of an Arab chief, standing alone on an oasis. Peer Gynt, in his Eastern dress, resting on cushions. He is drinking coffee and smoking a long pipe. Anitra and a bevy of girls dancing and singing before him.
The prophet is come, the prophet, the Lord, the all-knowing one. To us is he come, o'er the sand ocean riding. The prophet, the Lord, the unerring one. To us is he come, o'er the sand ocean sailing. Wake the flute and the drum, the prophet is come.
His courser is white as the milk is, that streams in the rivers of paradise. Bend every knee, bow Then pearl drops sprang forth on his breast, where he ruled there was light. Behind him was darkness, behind him raged drought and the simoom. He, the glorious one, came through the desert. He came like a mortal herald. Kaba, Kaba stands void. He himself hath proclaimed it.
Wake the flute and the drum, the prophet is come.
They continue the dance to soft music.
I have read it in print, and the saying is true, that no one's a prophet in his native land. This position is very much more to my mind than my life over there among the Charleston merchants. There was something hollow in the whole affair, something foreign at the bottom, something dubious behind it. I was never at home in their company, nor felt myself really one in the guild. What tempted me into that galley at all? To grub and grub in the bins of trade. As I think it all over, I can't understand it. It happened so. That's the whole affair. To be oneself on a basis of gold is no better than founding one's house on the sand. For your watch and your ring and the rest of your trappings, the good people fawn on you, grovelling to earth. They lift their hats to your jeweled breastpin, but your ring and your breastpin are not your person. A prophet, aye, that is a clearer position. At least one knows on what footing one stands. If you make a success, it's yourself that receives the ovation, and not your pounds sterling and shillings. One is what one is, and no nonsense about it. One owes nothing to chance or to accident, and needs neither license nor patent to lean on. A prophet. Yeah, that's the thing for me. And I slipped so utterly unawares into it, just by coming galloping over the desert and meeting these children of nature en route. The prophet had come to them, so much was clear. It was really not my intent to deceive. There's a difference twixt lies and oracular answers, and then I can always withdraw again. No way bound. It's a simple matter. The whole thing is private, so to speak. I can go as I came. There's my horse ready saddled. I am master, in short, of the situation.
Anitra, approaching from the tent door.
Prophet and master!
What would my slave?
The sons of the desert await at thy tent door. They pray for the light of thy countenance.
Stop. Say, in the distance I'd have them assemble. Say, from the distance I hear all their prayers. Add that I suffer no menfolk in here. Men, my child, are a worthless crew. Inveterate rascals you well may call them. Anitra, you can't think how shamelessly they have they have sinned, my child. Well, enough now, that. You may dance for me, damsels. The prophet would banish the memories that gall him.
The girls, dancing.
The prophet is good, the prophet is grieving, for the ill that the sons of the dust have wrought. The prophet is mild, to his mildness be praises. He opens to sinners his paradise.
Pair, his eyes following Anitra during the dance.
Legs as nimble as drumsticks flitting. She's a dainty morsel indeed, that wench. It's true she has somewhat extravagant contours, not quite in accord with the norms of beauty. But what is beauty? A mere convention. a coin made current by time and place, and just the extravagant seems most attractive when one of the normal has drunk one's fill. In the law-bound, one misses all intoxication, either plump to excess or excessively lean, either parlously young or portentously old. The medium is mawkish. Her feet, they are not altogether clean, no more are her arms, in especial one of them. But that is at bottom no drawback at all. I should rather call it a qualification. Anitra, come listen.
Anitra, approaching.
Thy handmaiden hears.
You are tempting, my daughter. The prophet is touched. If you don't believe me, then hear the proof. I'll make you a Houri in paradise.
Impossible, Lord.
What? You think I am jesting? I'm in sober earnest, as true as I live.
But I haven't a soul.
Then, of course, you must get one.
How, Lord?
Just leave me alone for that. I shall look after your education. No soul? Why, truly, you're not overbright, as the saying goes. I've observed it with pain. But, pooh, for a soul you can always find room. Come here. Let me measure your brain pan, child. There's room. There's room. I was sure there was. It's true you will never penetrate very deep. To a large soul you'll scarcely attain. But never you mind, it won't matter a bit. You'll have plenty to carry you through with credit.
The prophet is gracious.
You hesitate? Speak.
But I'd rather.
Say on. Don't waste time about it.
I don't care so much about having a soul. Give me rather...
What, child?
Anitra, pointing to his turban.
That lovely opal.
Pair, enchanted, handing her the jewel.
Anitra, Anitra, true daughter of Eve. I feel thee magnetic, for I am a man, and, as a much esteemed author has phrased it, das ewig Weibliche sieht uns an.
End of Scene 6. End of Act 4, Part 1. Act 4, Part 2 of Peer Gynt by Henrik Ibsen. Translated by William and Charles Archer. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Characters, Act 4, Part 2.
Middle-aged Per Gynt.
Read by Max Schörlinge.
Anitra.
Performed by Liberty Stump.
Solveig.
Read by Elizabeth Klett.
Memnon's Statue.
By David Olson.
By Griffinfeld.
Read by Abai.
The Newcomer.
Read by David Lawrence.
First Keeper.
Read by Algie Pag.
Second Keeper.
Read by Phil Benson.
Hoo-Hoo.
Read by Alan Mapstone.
The Fella.
Read by Cliff Thompson.
Hussein.
Read by Lewis.
Schaffman.
Read by Wordsmith 94.
Narrator.
Read by Cynthia Moyer. Act 4, Scene 7. A moonlight night. The palm grove outside Anitra's tent. Peer Gynt is sitting beneath a tree with an Arabian lute in his hands. His beard and hair are clipped. He looks considerably younger. Peer Gynt plays and sings.
I double-locked my paradise, took its key with me. The north wind bore me seaward whole, while lovely women are forlorn, wept on the ocean strand. Still southward, southward clove my keel, the salt sea currents through, where palms were swaying proud and fair, a garland round the ocean bight. I set my ship on fire, I climbed aboard the desert ship, a ship on 4 stout legs. It foamed beneath the lashing whip. Oh, catch me, I'm a flitting bird, I'm twittering on a bough. Anitra, thou the palm trees must, that know I now full well. I, even the Angora goat milk cheese, is scarcely have such a dainty fare. Anitra, as thou.
He hangs the lute over his shoulder and comes forward.
Stillness. Is the fair one listening? Has she heard my little song? Peeps she from behind the curtain veil and so forth cast aside? Hush! A sound as though a cork from a bottle burst amain. Now once more, and yet again. Love sighs, can it be? Or songs? No, it is distinctly snoring. Dulcet strain, Anitra sleepeth. Nightingale, thy warbling, stay. Every sort of woe betide thee if with gurgling trill thou darest. But, as says the text, let be. Nightingale, thou art a singer. Ah, even such an one am I. He, like me, ensnares with music tender shrinking little hearts. Balmy night is made for music. Music is our common sphere. In the act of singing we are we, Peer Gynt and Nightingale. And the maiden's very sleeping is my passion's crowning bliss, for the lips protruded over the beaker, yet untasted quite. But she's coming, I declare. After all, it's best she should.
Anitra from the tent.
Master, callest thou in the night?
Yes, indeed, the prophet calls. I was wakened by the cat with a furious hunting hubbub.
Not hunting noises, master. It was something much, much worse.
What then was it?
Oh, spare me.
Speak.
Oh, I blush to...
Pair approaching.
Was it, mayhap, that which filled me so completely when I let you have my opal?
Anitra, horrified.
Liken thee, O earth's great treasure, to a horrible old cat?
Child, from passion's standpoint viewed, may a tomcat and a prophet come to very much the same.
Master, jest like honey floweth from thy lips.
My little friend, you, like other maidens, judge great men by their outsides only. I am full of jest at bottom, most of all when we're alone. I am forced by my position to assume a solemn mask. Duties of the day constrain me. All the reckonings and worry that I have with one and all make me oft a cross-grained prophet, but it's only from the tongue out. Fudge, avant, en tête-à-tête en pair, well, the man I am. Hey, away now with the prophet. Me, myself, you have me here.
Seats himself under a tree and draws her to him.
Come, Anitra, we will rest us underneath the palm's green fan shade. I'll lie whispering, you'll lie smiling. Afterwards our roles exchange we, then shall your lips, fresh and balmy, to my smiling passion whisper.
Anitra lies down at his feet.
All thy words are sweet as singing, though I understand but little. Master, tell me, can thy daughter catch a soul by listening?
Soul, and spirit's light, and knowledge, all in good time you shall have them. When in east, on rosy streamers, golden types print, here is day, then, my child, I'll give you lessons. You'll be well brought up, no fear. But midnight's delicious stillness, it were stupid if I should, with a threadbare wisdom's remnant, play the part of pedagogue. And the soul, moreover, is not looked at properly the main thing. It's the heart that really matters.
Speak, O master. When thou speakest, I see gleams as though of opals.
Wisdom in extremes is folly. Coward blossoms into tyrant. Truth, when carried to excess, ends in wisdom written backwards. I, my daughter, am forsworn as a dog if there are not folk with overfed souls on earth who shall scarce attain to clearness. Once I met with such a fellow, of the flock the very flower, and even he mistook his goal, losing sense in blatant sound. See the waste round this oasis. Were I but to swing my turban, I could force the ocean flood to fill up the whole concern. But I were a blockhead, truly, seas and lands to go creating. Know you what it is to live?
Teach me.
It is to be wafted, dry-shod, down the stream of time, wholly, solely as oneself. Only in full manhood can I be the man I am, dear child. Aged eagle molts his plumage, aged fogey lags declining, aged dame has never a tooth left, aged churl gets withered hands, one and all get souls. Youth, youth. I mean to reign as a sultan, whole and fiery, not on Gynthiana's shores, under trellised vines and palm leaves, but enthroned in the freshness of a woman's virgin thoughts. See you now, my little maiden, why I have graciously bewitched you, why I have your heart selected and established, so to speak, there my being's caliphate. All your longings shall be mine. I'm an autocrat in passion. You shall live for me alone. I'll be he who shall enthrall you like gold and precious stones. Should we part, then life is over, that is, your life, nota bene. Every inch and fibre of you, will-less, without yea or nay, I must know filled full of me. Midnight beauties of your tresses, all that's lovely to be named, shall, like Babylonian gardens, tempt your sultan to his tryst. After all, I don't complain, then, of your empty forehead vault. With a soul once oft absorbed in contemplation of oneself. Listen, while we're on the subject, if you like it, Faith, you should have a ring about your ankle. 'Twill be best for both of us. I will be your soul, by proxy. For the rest, why, status quo.
Anitra snores.
What? She sleeps. Then has it glided bootless past her, all I've said? No, it marks my influence over her, that she floats away in dreams on my love talk as it flows.
Rises and lays trinkets in her lap.
Here are jewels. Here are more. Sleep, Anitra. Dream of pair. Sleep. In sleeping, you the crown have placed upon your emperor's brow. Victory on his person's basis has Per Gynt this night achieved.
End of Scene 7. Act 4, Scene 8. A caravan route. The oasis is seen far off in the background. Per Gynt comes galloping across the desert on his white horse, with Anitra before him on his saddle-bow.
Let be, or I'll bite you.
You little rogue.
What would you?
What would I? Play hawk and dove, run away with you, frolic and frisk a bit.
For shame. An old prophet like you.
Oh, stuff. The prophet's not old at all, you goose. Do you think all this is a sign of age?
Let me go. I want to go home.
Coquette. What? Home? To father-in-law? That would be fine. We madcap birds that have flown from the cage must never come into his sight again. Besides, my child, in the self-same place, it's wisest never to stay too long, for familiarity lessens respect, most of all when one comes as a prophet or such. One should show oneself glimpse-wise, and pass like a dream. Faith, 'twas time that the visit should come to an end. They're unstable of soul are these sons of the desert. Both incense and prayers dwindle off towards the end.
Yes, but are you a prophet?
Your emperor, I am.
Tries to kiss her.
Why, just see now how coy the wee woodpecker is.
Give me that ring that you have on your finger.
Take, sweet Anitra, the whole of the trash.
Thy words are as songs. Oh, how dulcet their sound.
How blessed to know oneself loved to this pitch. I'll dismount. Like your slave, I will lead your palfrey.
Hands her his riding whip and dismounts.
There now, my rosebud, my exquisite flower. Here I'll go trudging my way through the sand, till a sunstroke overtakes me and finishes me. I'm young, Anitra, bear that in mind. You mustn't be shocked at my escapades. Frolics and high jinks are youth's sole criterion, and so, if your intellect weren't so dense, you would see at a glance, O my fair oleander, your lover is frolicsome, ergo, he's young.
Yes, you are young. Have you any more rings?
Am I not? There, grab. I can leap like a buck. Were there vine leaves around, I would garland my brow. To be sure I am young. Hey, I'm going to dance.
Dances and sings.
I am a blissful gamecock. Pick me, my little pullet. Hop, sa, let me trip it. I'm a blissful gamecock.
You are sweating, my prophet. I fear you will melt. Hand me that heavy bag hung at your belt.
Tender solicitude, bear the purse ever. Hearts that can love are content without gold.
Dances and sings again.
Young Peer Gynt is the maddest wag. He knows not what foot he shall stand upon. Pooh, says Peer, pooh, never mind. Young Peer Gynt is the maddest wag.
What joy when the prophet steps forth in the dance.
Oh, bother the prophet. Suppose we change clothes. Isa, strip off.
Your caftan were too long, your girdle too wide, and your stockings too tight.
Eh bien.
Kneels down.
But vouchsafe me a vehement sorrow to a heart full of love. It is sweet to suffer. Listen, as soon as we're home at my castle.
In your paradise, have we far to ride?
Oh, 1,000 miles or...
Too far.
Oh, listen. You shall have the soul that I promised you once.
Oh, thank you. I'll get on without the soul. But you asked for a sorrow.
Peer, rising.
Ay, curse me, I did. A keen one, but short, to last 2 or 3 days.
Anitra obeyeth the prophet. Farewell.
Gives him a smart cut across the fingers and dashes off at a tearing gallop back across the desert. Peer stands for a long time, thunderstruck.
Well now, may I be...
End of Scene 8. Act 4, Scene 9. The same place, an hour later. Peer Gynt is stripping off his Turkish costume, soberly and thoughtfully, bit by bit. Last of all he takes his little travelling cap out of his coat pocket, puts it on, and stands once more in European dress. Peer Gynt, throwing the turban far away from him.
There lies the Turk, then, and here stand I. These heathenish doings are no sort of good. It's lucky it was only a matter of clothes, and not, as the saying goes, bread in the bone. What tempted me into that galley at all? It's best in the long run to live as a Christian, to put away peacock-like ostentation, to base all one's dealings on law and morality, to be ever oneself, and to earn at the last speech at one's graveside and wreaths on one's coffin.
Walks a few steps.
The hussy! She was on the very verge of turning my head clean topsy-turvy. May I be a troll if I understand what it was that dazed and bemused me so? Well, it's well that's done. Had the joke been carried but one step on, I'd have looked absurd. I have erred, but at least it's a consolation that my error was due to the false situation. It wasn't my personal self that fell. 'Twas in fact this prophetical way of life, so utterly lacking the salt of activity, that took its revenge in these qualms of bad taste. It's a sorry business, this prophetizing. One's office compels one to walk in a mist. In playing the prophet, you throw up the game the moment you act like a rational being. In so far, I've done what the occasion demanded, in the mere fact of paying my court to that goose. But nevertheless, to think of it now, to try to make time stop by jigging and dancing, and to cope with the current by capering and prancing, to thrum on the lute strings, to fondle and sigh, and end, like a rooster, by getting well plucked. Such conduct is truly prophetic frenzy. Yes, plucked. I'm plucked clean enough indeed. Well, I've a trifle still left in reserve. I've a little in America, a little in my pocket, so I won't be quite driven to beg my bread. And at bottom, this middle condition is best. I'm no longer a slave to my coachman and horses. I haven't to fret about post-chaise or baggage. I am master, in short, of the situation. What path should I choose? Many paths lie before me, and a wise man is known from a fool by his choice. My business life is a finished chapter. My love sports, too, are a cast-off garment. I feel no desire to live back, like a crab, forward or back, and it's just as far, out or in, and it's just as straight. So I seem to have read in some luminous work. I'll try something new then, ennoble my cause, find a goal worth the labor and money it costs. Shall I write my life without dissimulation, a book for guidance and imitation? Or, stay, I have plenty of time at command. What if, as a traveling scientist, I should study past ages and time's voracity? Aye, sure enough, that is the thing for me. Legends I read e'en in childhood days, and since then I've kept up that branch of learning. I will follow the path of the human race. Like a feather I'll float on the stream of history, make it all live again as in a dream. See the heroes battling for truth and right, as an onlooker only in safety ensconced. See thinkers perish and martyrs bleed. See empires founded and vanish away. See world epochs grow from their trifling seeds. In short, I will skim off the cream of history. I must try and get a hold of a volume of Becker, and travel as far as I can by chronology. It's true, my groundings by no means thorough, and history's wheels within wheels are deceptive, but pooh, the wilder the starting point, the result will oft be the more original. How exalting it is now to choose a goal and drive straight for it, like flint and steel.
With quiet emotion.
To break off all around one, on every side, the bonds that bind one to home and friends, to blow into atoms one's hoarded wealth, to bid one's love and its joys good night, all simply to find the arcana of truth.
Wiping a tear from his eye.
That is the test of the true man of science. I feel myself happy beyond all measure. Now I have fathomed my destiny's riddle. Now 'tis but persevering through thick and thin. It's excusable, sure, if I hold up my head and feel my worth as the man Per Gynt, also called human, life's emperor. I will own the sum total of bygone days. I'll never more tread in the paths of the living. The present is not worth so much as a shoe sole. All faithless and marrowless the doings of men. Their soul has no wings, and their deeds no weight.
Shrugs his shoulders.
And women, they are a worthless crew.
Goes off. End of Scene 9. Act 4, Scene 10. A summer day. Far up in the north, a hut in the forest. The door, with a large wooden bar, stands open. Reindeer horns over it. A flock of goats by the wall of the hut. A middle-aged woman, fair-haired and comely, sits spinning outside in the sunshine. The woman glances down the path and sings.
Maybe both the winter and spring will pass by, and the next summer too, and the whole of the year, the whole of the year. But thou wilt come one day, I know full well, know I full well, and I will await thee as I promised of old, as I promised of old. Ah, 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 God strengthen thee whereso thou goest in the world, in the world. God gladden thee if at his footstool thou stand, his footstool thou stand. Here will I await thee till thou comest again, thou comest again. And if thou wait up yonder, then there will meet my friend, will meet my friend. Ah, 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 ah,
End of Scene 10. Act 4, Scene 11. In Egypt. Daybreak. Memnon's statue amid the sands. Per Gynt enters on foot and looks around him for a while.
Here I might fittingly start on my wanderings. So now, for a change, I become an Egyptian. but Egyptian on the basis of the Gyntish eye. To Assyria next I will bend my steps. To begin right back at the world's creation would lead to naught but bewilderment. I will go round about all the Bible history. Its secular traces I'll always be coming on, and to look, as the saying goes, into its seams lies entirely outside both my plan and my powers.
Sits upon a stone.
Now I will rest me and patiently wait till the statue has sung its habitual dawn song. When breakfast is over, I'll climb up the pyramid. If I have time, I'll look through its interior afterwards. Then I'll go round the head of the Red Sea by land. Perhaps I may hit on King Potiphar's grave. Next, I'll turn Asiatic. In Babylon, I'll seek for the far-renowned harlots and hanging gardens. That's to say, the chief traces of civilization. Then, at one bound, to the ramparts of Troy. From Troy, there's a fair way by sea direct across to the glorious ancient Athens. There, on the spot, will I, stone by stone, survey the paths that Leonidas guarded. I will get up the works of the better philosophers, find the prison where Socrates suffered, a martyr. Oh, no. By the by, there's a war there at present. Well then, my Hellenism must even stand over.
Looks at his watch.
It's really too bad. Such an age as it takes for the sun to rise. I am pressed for time. Well then, from Troy. It was there I left off.
Rises and listens.
What is that strange sort of murmur that's rushing?
Sunrise. Memnon's statue sings.
From the demigods' ashes their soar. You three newing birds ever singing. Zeus the omniscient, shape them contending. Owls of wisdom, my birds, where do they slumber? Thou must die, thou must die, if thou read not the songs enigma.
How strange now. I really fancied there came from the statue a sound. Music, this of the past. I heard the stone, accents now rising, now sinking. I will register it for the learned to ponder.
Notes in his pocket-book.
The statue did sing. I heard the sound plainly, but didn't quite follow the text of the song. The whole thing, of course, was hallucination. Nothing else of importance observed today.
Proceeds on his way. End of Scene 11. Act 4, Scene 12. Near the village of Giza, the great Sphinx carved out of the rock, in the distance the spires and minarets of Cairo. Peer Gynt enters. He examines the Sphinx attentively, now through his eyeglass, now through his hollowed hand.
Now, where in the world have I met before something half forgotten that's like this hobgoblin? For met it I have, in the north or the south. Was it a person? And if so, who? That Memnon, it afterwards crossed my mind, was like the old men of the Dover, so-called, just as he sat there, stiff and stark, planted on end on the stumps of pillars. But this most curious mongrel here, this changeling, a lion and woman in one, does he come to me too from a fairy tale, or from a remembrance of something real? From a fairy tale? Oh, I remember the fellow. Why, of course, it's the Boig that I smote on the skull. That is, I dreamt it. I lay in fever.
Going closer.
The self-same eyes and the self-same lips, not quite so lumpish, a little more cunning, but the same for the rest in all essentials. Aye, so that's it, Boig. So you're like a lion when one sees you from behind and meets you in the daytime. Are you still good at riddling? Come, let us try. Now we shall see if you answer as last time.
Calls out towards the Sphinx.
Hi, Boig. Who are you?
A voice behind the Sphinx.
Ach, Sphinx, wer bist du?
What? Echo answers in German? How strange.
Wer bist du?
It speaks it quite fluently too. That observation is new and my own.
Notes in his book.
Echo in German, dialect Berlin.
Begriffenfeld comes out from behind the Sphinx.
A man.
Oh, then it was he that was chattering.
Notes again.
Arrived in the sequel at other results.
Begriffenfeld, with all sorts of restless antics.
Excuse me, mein Herr, eine Lebensfrage. What brings you to this place precisely today?
A visit. I'm greeting a friend of my youth.
What, the Sphinx?
Pear nods.
Yes, I knew him in days gone by.
Famous, and that after such a night. My temples are hammering as though they would burst. You know him, man. Answer. Say on. Can you tell what he is?
What he is? Yes, that's easy enough. He's himself.
Begriffenfeld, with a bound.
Ha! The riddle of life lightened forth in a flash to my vision. It's certain he is himself?
Yes, he says so, at any rate.
Himself! Revolution, thine hour is at hand.
Takes off his hat.
Your name, pray, mein Herr?
I was christened Per Gynt.
Begriffenfeld, in rapt admiration.
Per Gynt. Allegoric, I might have foreseen it. Per Gynt? That must clearly imply the unknown, the comer whose coming was foretold to me.
What? Really? And now you are here to meet...
Per Gynt. Profound, enigmatic, incisive. Each word, as it were, an abysmal lesson. What are you?
Per modestly.
Oh, I've always endeavored to be myself. For the rest, here's my passport, you see.
Again, that mysterious word at the bottom.
Seizes him by the wrist.
To Cairo. The interpreter's Kaiser is found.
Kaiser?
Come on.
Am I really known?
Begriffenfeld, dragging him away.
The interpreter's Kaiser, on the basis of self.
End of Scene 12. Act 4, Scene 13. In Cairo, a large courtyard surrounded by high walls and buildings, barred windows, iron cages. 3 keepers in the courtyard. A 4th comes in.
Schaffman, say, where's the director gone?
He drove out this morning, some time before dawn.
I think something must have occurred to annoy him, for last night...
Hush, be quiet. He's there at the door.
Begriffenfeld leads Per Gynt in, locks the gate, and puts the key in his pocket. Per, to himself.
Indeed, an exceedingly gifted man. Almost all that he says is beyond comprehension.
Looks around.
So this is the club of the savants, eh?
Here you will find them, every man jack of them. The group of interpreters 70. It's been lately increased by 160.
Shouts to the keepers.
Mickel, Schlingenberg, Schafmann, Fuchs, into the cages with you at once.
We?
Who else, pray? Get in, get in. When the world twirls around, we must twirl with it too.
Forces them into a cage.
He's arrived this morning, the mighty pair. The rest you can guess. I need say no more.
Locks the cage door and throws the key into a well.
But, my dear Herr Doctor and Director, pray...
Neither one nor the other. I was before. Herr Peer, are you secret? I must ease my heart.
Peer, with increasing uneasiness.
What is it?
Promise you will not tremble.
I will do my best, but...
Begriffenfeld draws him into a corner and whispers.
The absolute reason departed this life at 11 last night.
Oh, God help me.
Why, yes, it's extremely deplorable. And as I'm placed, you see, it is doubly unpleasant, for this institution has passed up to now for what's called a madhouse.
Madhouse, huh?
Not now, understand?
Peer, softly, pale with fear.
Now I see what the place is. And the man is mad, and there's none that knows it.
Tries to steal away, Begriffenfeld following him.
However, I hope you don't misunderstand me. When I said he was dead, I was talking stuff. He's beside himself. Started clean out of his skin, just like my compatriot Münchhausen's fox.
Excuse me a moment.
Begriffenfeld holding him back.
I meant like an eel. It was not like a fox. A needle through his eye, and he writhed on the wall.
Where can rescue be found?
A snick round his neck, and whip out of his skin.
He's raving. He's utterly out of his wits.
Now it's patent and can't be dissimulated that this from himself going must have for result a complete revolution by sea and land. The persons one hitherto reckoned as mad, you see, became normal last night at 11, accordant with reason in its newest phase. And more, if the matter be rightly regarded, it's patent that, at the aforementioned hour, the sane folks, so-called, began forthwith to rave.
You mentioned the hour, sir. My time is but scant.
Your time, did you say? There you jog my remembrance.
Opens a door and calls out.
Come forth, all! The time that shall be is proclaimed. Reason is dead and gone. Long live Peer Gynt.
Now, my dear good fellow.
The lunatics come one by one and at intervals into the courtyard.
Good morning. Come forth and hail the dawn of emancipation. Your Kaiser has come to you.
Kaiser?
Of course.
But the honor is so great, so entirely excessive.
Oh, do not let any false modesty sway you at an hour such as this.
But at least give me time. No, indeed, I'm not fit. I'm completely dumbfounded.
A man who has fathomed the Sphinx's meaning. A man who's himself.
Aye, but that's just a rub. It's true that in everything I am myself, but here the point is, if I follow your meaning, to be, so to phrase it, outside oneself.
Outside? No, there you are strangely mistaken. It's here, sir, that one is oneself with a vengeance, oneself and nothing whatever besides. We go full sail as our very selves. Each one shuts himself up in the barrel of self. In the self-fermentation he dives to the bottom. With the self-bung he seals it hermetically, and seasons the staves in the well of self. No one has tears for the other's woes, no one has mind for the other's ideas. We're our very selves both in thought and tone, ourselves to the springboard's uttermost verge. And so, if a Kaiser's to fill the throne, it is clear that you are the very man.
Oh, would that the devil...
Come, don't be cast down. Almost all things in nature are new at the first. Oneself. Come, here you shall see an example. I'll choose you at random the first man that comes.
To a gloomy figure.
Good day, hoo-hoo. Well, my boy, wandering round forever with misery's impress upon you.
Can I help it when the people race by race dies untranslated?
To Peer Gynt.
You're a stranger. Will you listen?
Peer, bowing.
Oh, by all means.
Lend your ear then. Eastward far like brow-born garlands lie the Malabarish seaboards. Hollanders and Portugueses compass all the land with culture. There, moreover, swarms are dwelling of the purebred Malabaris. These have muddled up the language, they now lord it in the country. But in long departed ages, there the orang-outang was ruler. He, the forest's lord and master, freely fought and snarled in freedom. As the hand of nature shaped him, just so grinned he, just so gaped he. He could shriek unreprehended, he was ruler in his kingdom. Ah, but then the foreign yoke came, marred the forest tongue primeval. Twice 200 years of darkness brooded o'er the race of monkeys, and, you know, nights so protracted bring a people to a standstill. Mute are now the wood notes primal, grunts and growls are heard no longer. If we utter our ideas, it must be by means of language. What constraint on all and sundry, Hollanders and Portugueses, half-caste race and Malabaris, all alike must suffer by it. I have tried to fight the battle of our real primal wood speech, tried to bring to life its carcass, prove the people's right of shrieking, shrieked myself and shown the need of shrieks in poems for the people. Scantly though my work is valued, now I think you grasp my sorrow. Thanks for lending me a hearing. Have you counsel? Let me hear it.
Peer, softly.
It is written, best be howling with the wolves that are about you.
Aloud.
Friend, if I remember rightly, there are bushes in Morocco where orangutans in plenty live with neither bard nor spokesman. Their speech sounded Malabarish. It was classical and pleasing. Why don't you, like other worthies, emigrate to serve your country?
Thanks for lending me a hearing. I will do as you advise me.
With a large gesture.
East thou hast disowned thy singer. West thou hast orang-outangs still.
Goes.
Well, was he himself? I should rather think so. He's filled with his own affairs, simply and solely. He's himself in all that comes out of him. Himself, just because he's beside himself. Come here, now I'll show you another one, who's no less, since last evening, accordant with reason.
To a fella with a mummy on his back.
King Apis, how goes it, my mighty lord?
The fella, wildly, to Peer Gynt.
Am I King Apis?
Peer, getting behind the doctor.
I'm sorry to say, I'm not quite at home in the situation, but I certainly gather to judge by your tone.
Now you too are lying.
Your Highness should state how the whole matter stands.
Yes, I'll tell him my tale.
Turns to Peer Gynt.
Do you see whom I bear on my shoulders? His name was King Apis of old. Now he goes by the title of Mummy, and withal he's completely dead. All the pyramids yonder he builded, and hewed out the mighty Sphinx, and fought, as the doctor puts it, with the Turks, both to Rex and Lynx. And therefore The whole of Egypt exalted him as a god, and set up his image in temples in the outward shape of a bull. But I am this very King Apis. I see that as clear as day. And if you don't understand it, you shall understand it soon. King Apis, you see, was out hunting, and got off his horse a while, and withdrew himself unattended to a part of my ancestors' land. But the field that King Apis manured has nourished me with its corn, and if further proofs are demanded, no, I have invisible horns. Now, isn't it most accursed that no one will own my might? By birth, I am Apis of Egypt, but a fella in other men's sight. Can you tell me what course to follow? Then counsel me honestly. The problem is how to make me resemble King Apis the Great.
Build pyramids then, your highness, and carve out a great sphinx, and fight, as the doctor puts it, with the Turks, both to rects and links.
Aye, that's all mighty fine talking. A fella, a hungry louse, I, who scarcely can keep my hovel clear even of rats and mice. Quick, man, think of something better. That'll make me great and safe. And further, exactly like to King Apis that's on my back.
What if your highness hanged you, and then in the lap of earth, twixt the coffin's natural frontiers, kept still and completely dead?
I'll do it! My life for a halter! To the gallows then, with hide and hair! At first there will be some difference, but that time will smooth away.
Goes off and prepares to hang himself.
There's a personality for you, Herr Peer, a man of method.
Yes, I see. But he'll really hang himself. God grant us grace. I'll be ill. I can scarcely command my thoughts.
A state of transition. It won't last long.
Transition? To what? With your leave, I must go.
The Griffin felt, holding him.
Are you crazy?
Not yet. Crazy? Heaven forbid.
A commotion. The minister Hussein forces his way through the crowd.
They tell me a Kaiser has come today.
To Peer Gynt.
Is it you?
Peer, in desperation.
Yes, that is a settled thing.
Good. Then no doubt there are notes to be answered?
Peer, tearing his hair.
Come on. Right you are, sir. The madder the better.
Will you do me the honor of taking a dip?
Bowing deeply.
I am a pen.
Peer, bowing still deeper.
Why, then, I am quite clearly a rubbishy piece of imperial parchment.
My story, my lord, is concisely this. They take me for a sandbox, and I am a pen.
My story, Sir Pen, is, to put it briefly, I'm a blank sheet of paper that no one will write on.
No man understands in the least what I'm good for. They all want to use me for scattering sand with.
I was in a woman's keeping a silver-clasped book. It's one and the same misprint to be either mad or sane.
Hussein, with high leap.
Just fancy, what an exhausting life, to be a pen and never taste the edge of a knife.
Just fancy, for a reindeer to leap from on high, to fall and never feel the ground beneath your hoofs.
A knife, I am blunt. Quick, mend me and slit me. The world will go to ruin if they don't mend my point for me.
A pity for the world, which, like other self-made things, was reckoned by the Lord to be so excellently good.
Here's a knife.
Hussein, seizing it.
Ah, how I shall lick up the ink now. Oh, what rapture to cut oneself.
Cuts his throat. The Griffin felt, stepping aside.
Pray do not sputter.
Peer, in increasing terror.
Hold him!
Ay, hold me, that is the word. Hold the pen, on the desk with the paper.
Falls.
I'm outworn, the postscript. Remember it, pray. He lived, and he died, as a fate-guided pen.
Pair, dizzily.
What shall I? What am I? Thou mighty, hold fast. I'm all that thou wilt. I'm a Turk. I'm a sinner. A hill troll. But help! There was something that burst.
Shrieks.
Ah! I cannot just hit on thy name at the moment. Oh, come to my aid, thou all madmen's protector.
Sinks down, insensible. Begriffenfeld, with a wreath of straw in his hand, gives a bound and sits astride of him.
I cannot, ha! See him in the mire enthroned, beside himself. To crown him now. Long life to selfhood's Kaiser.
Schafmann, in the cage.
Es lieber hockt der Großpier.
End of Scene 13. End of Act 4.
Okay, we're done Act 4. Next on Sunday is Act 5 at noon Central. That's 2:30 for me, and let's I believe you're 4.5. So 2:30, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. for hands. Eek. Right now it's 10:20 for me, so I'm guessing it's 2. It's 3 a.m. hands, isn't it? Josiah. You are silly. You're welcome, Chaos. I'm glad you could show up. Like I said, anytime you need, if you can't make it, we can always I can always throw a special one on, or just do one on my own channel. Throw on some HP Lovecraft or something. So, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it, and wish me luck tomorrow. My tooth is probably going to be coming out. Oh well, what do you do? Should be interesting. Hopefully it won't be too bad by Sunday. Okay guys, thank you so much for coming. I love yous, and you have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye. See you guys in a bit somewhere. I don't know where. Thank you, hands. I'll need it. Oh well. Okay. And we'll see you guys around. I'm probably heading over to Non-Sec if they're still going. There's a dinosaur thing. I was trying to make it on some freaking... Got a little squirrely, did they? You're silly, Josiah. Love you guys. Talk to you later.